And what I'd like to talk about with you guys actually is, like I said, you're guys one of the few people who are really anti using Flutter for web and desktop. And that's not, I don't think it's necessarily like you don't like Flutter, but I think it's just maybe it doesn't fit for your case, or am I wrong? Or
No, you're
We're
right.
not anti-Flutter Web.
We're not anti-Flutter.
Okay.
I like Flutter. I think Flutter
I don't have
is
any
a
personal
good,
thing against
it's
it.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I mean, go ahead.
I have strong opinions on this though, for sure. And
Please let
we
us
definitely
know.
talk about this a little bit. So we also had a internal talk with like our mobile app developers about this, and I think ultimately we agree that Flutter Web is too early. It's too early to make anything production in Flutter Web for various reasons, and especially if your application has some concerns. Number one concern is SEO. There are definitely issues with navigation in a kind of like URL context, a browser context. Whatever you render basically in a Flutter web application is in a canvas, if I recall correctly. And basically, if you go to any of the Flutter web demos, you open up your Chrome browser, inspect the elements, you'll see a giant canvas in the middle. And there will be problems with crawling. So if your application is any at all, or your website is at all SEO concerned, there will definitely be questions about that. Another one that leads because of this is accessibility. I don't know how well screen readers and all that stuff play with Flutter applications on the web. I don't think very well, but I would definitely have concerns about this. And lastly, we felt that Flutter Web could have some uses. Some of our colleagues have voiced that maybe you could use it as part of your application, like a section of your application or your web app or your website might have something a little bit more interactive. You could embed it in that section of your app, and that would be a legitimate use case. But I think for the aforementioned reasons, it's way too early, and I would definitely not consider beyond a personal choice, for a personal project.
Yeah, I mean, practically speaking, the hurdles would be there to convince people to move from more traditional HTML, JS-based technologies to Flutter, right? Because, you have like an ecosystem that has been developing for like 20 years, and moving to Flutter would mean that, a lot of that experience would not necessarily translate to Flutter Web. And also, most of the companies, they have existing web apps built in JS, maybe React, or some other frameworks, and to migrate it to like a pretty alien language and framework, would require a lot of convincing and would require a really strong reason, which probably doesn't exist for most companies yet. For greenfield projects, experimental projects, I could see that becoming more of an option. Yeah.
I think definitely cross-platform mobile applications right now. Number one, if you need a cross-platform mobile application, you need it fast. You need them to look sharp, professional, easily, and consistent. You care about performance. Maybe not like a game, for example, but like smooth animations, that kind of performance to that degree. I would pick Flutter. And speaking to the mobile app developers, they would too. And both of our mobile app developers come from a native mobile app development background. They would agree that basically, you wouldn't go wrong choosing Flutter. The experience has been good. You can drop the native easily. And the ecosystem is improving as we speak. It's definitely improved over since we first adopted Flutter. There are a little bit more things. There are definitely still some problems, but overall it's been a good experience talking to other people and our developers as well with using Flutter. I think with the announcement of Flutter 2 and continued support and seeing that the ecosystem is growing more and more, if Flutter desktop takes off even more, then even stronger reason to adopt Flutter on desktop. Say you need a cross-platform desktop application, then yeah, look no further. Maybe Flutter is the answer.
But Flutter would never be the answer for you guys' desktop app. Just curious, since you guys are investing in that. Not right now, maybe.
It was like a purely like pragmatic decision, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have to reuse a lot of the components, UIs from the web app. So we decided that okay, we don't want to rewrite everything again, just have two different sets of UI components in different languages. Now we like pretty much can share a lot of React components across web and desktop. But I could imagine that if you have like a more appy, like mobile app looking app that you want to port to like a desktop environment, Flutter could be really useful.
Definitely was a very shrewd and pragmatic decision for us regarding the desktop app. We, as you know, Alan, we definitely looked at Flutter as an option for a while. But like Marco said, sharing of code, sharing of UI components was a big factor, and we've already seen the benefits of this because when we start building the desktop app, we had a good look at designing the document management views and the design that we implemented on this greenfield desktop application. We basically start porting back over to the web app, which was on kind of a legacy design, and all it took was just sharing these components that we wrote basically. Putting aside even the UI, talking about an SDK for our API, we could share that as well.